You know, I thought retiring to Willow Creek would be my ticket to some real peace picture, this quiet, upscale suburb where folks wave from their porches, kids ride bikes without a care, and the biggest drama is whose lawn looks the greenest. I just wrapped up a long career, first as a Marine in some godforsaken places overseas, then as a detective in the chaos of downtown Chicago, dodging bullets and busting rings that'd make your head spin. So when I took the job as the new police chief here, I figured it'd be a breeze, handshake deals, community barbecues, finally a chance to breathe without that constant edge sharpening my nerves. But man, that illusion shattered on my very first night. I'm out there dragging my trash bins to the curb under those soft streetlights, feeling the cool evening air on my skin, when I catch this elderly Lady Evelyn Hart, as I'd learn later, peering at me from her window across the street, her face twisted like she'd just smelled something rotten. I waved, friendly-like, but she ducked behind her curtains real quick, and something about it prickled the back of my neck. Cold instincts from the field, I guess, telling me trouble was brewing even in this postcard-perfect spot. Turns out, Evelyn wasn't just some nosy neighbor. She was the queen bee of Willow Creek, all prim and proper with her award-winning tulip garden that she babed like it was her only child. But beneath that frail, innocent exterior, white hair pinned up, glasses perched on her nose, she was running a shadow empire, a slick operation of loan sharking and real estate scams through these ghost companies she'd set up to bleed folks dry. See, Evelyn had built her fortress here over decades, preying on the vulnerable, widows on fixed incomes, young families scraping by, flipping their properties after forcing them into predatory loans that ballooned overnight. And me? With my dark skin, that faded tattoo on my arm from my Marine days, simple eagle and globe, nothing flashy, she saw me as an invader, a threat to her lily-white domain and her dirty little secrets. It wasn't just prejudice, it was fear that I'd sniff out her game, disrupt the homogeneity she'd cultivated like her damn flowers. So what does she do? She dials 911, voice trembling like a leaf in the wind, spinning this yarn about a suspicious man with gang tattoos lurking around, casing houses for a break-in. I mean, come on, tattoos? That eagle was from serving my country, but to her, it was ammunition, a way to paint me as the enemy and rally her invisible army. Enter Officer Brody, tall, grizzled vet of the force, the kind of guy who'd been patrolling these streets since before smartphones, harboring this deep-seated resentment toward any outsider shaking things up. Brody saw himself as the suburb's shield, but really, he was Evelyn's unwitting and maybe not so unwitting enforcer, turning a blind eye to her schemes because they kept the right people in power and the property values sky high. He'd pull over folks who didn't fit the mold, write reports that buried complaints against her, all while nursing his own biases from years of seeing the world in black and white. He rolls up in his cruiser, lights flashing, but no siren, aggressive from the jump, slamming the door and striding over like I'm public enemy number one. Hey you. Hands where I can see 'em. What are you doing out here? He barks, his hand hovering near his holster, eyes narrowing at my tattoo like it's a smoking gun. I'm calm. I've been in tighter spots, but inside, my blood's starting to simmer. This is my home now, and here's this guy treating me like trash on my own curb. I try to explain. Officer, I'm just taking out my bins, new to the neighborhood. Name's Jack Harlan. But he cuts me off, voice dripping with that faux authority. ID now. You match the description, suspicious character, possible gang ties. What's a guy like you doing in a place like this anyway? Don't make me pat you down. He's inching closer, tension crackling like static, and when I reach slowly for my wallet, he draws his weapon halfway, yelling, easy. You think you can just waltz in here? That's when the air shifts, heavy with that electric charge before a storm. I pull out my badge instead, holding it up steady, and say real even. How about you holster that, Officer Brody? I'm Jack Harlan, your new chief of police. His facio, man, it drains white as a sheet, eyes bulging like he'd swallowed his tongue. Stammers something about a misunderstanding, but the humiliation's written all over him. That smug armor cracking right there under the streetlight. Evelyn. She's peeking from her window again, but this time she yanks the curtains shut, scurrying away like a rat sensing the trap. I could have let it slide, chalked it up to a bad night, but Evelyn's panacea was too raw, too desperate for just some racist knee-jerk. No, this smelled like deeper rot, the kind I'd chased in the city. So I dug in, quietly at first, pulling her records. No priors, but a web of LLCs tied to foreclosures. Folks losing homes over loans with interest rates that'd make a mobster blush. Met this couple, the Thompson salt of the earth types. He'd lost his job at the mill. She was battling cancer and they spilled how Evelyn had swooped in all grandmotherly, offering a helping hand, loan through her shell company, only to jack up the terms, harass them with calls, even send anonymous threats until they signed over their deed. She smiled the whole time. Mrs. Thompson whispered, tears in her eyes, like she was doing us a favor while stealing our life. Meanwhile, back at the station, Brody's stirring the pot-spreading whispers about the new boss from the big city, appending traditions, allying with the union head, this bulldog named Keller, to sabotage my reforms like better community outreach or bias training. It hit me then. This wasn't isolated. Brody had a history of protecting Evelyn's interests, burying reports on her evictions, maybe even roughing up folks who pushed back. The whole department had this undercurrent of complicity, tied to City Hall, where her crony ace, a shady lawyer named Whitaker, a banker pal, greased the wheels for her flips. I looped in my deputy, Maria Lopez, sharp as a tack and hungry for real change. We mapped it out late nights over cold coffee, connecting dots to a full-blown corruption ring sucking the soul from Willow Creek. But knowing wasn't enough, we needed to sting him hard. Enter the setup. We craft this fake victim, Lena, played by undercover detective Kira Patel, posing as a single mom down on her luck. Kira gets referred through Evelyn's church network, yeah? She hid behind Piety too and meets her at this quaint cafe. Evelyn, all sympathetic smiles. Oh dear, let's get you that loan. My company can help. But we wire it, record every word as she lays out the trap. Low intro rate, then boom, clauses that'd bury you in fees. Whitaker's there too, slick as oil, pushing papers with hidden gotchas. Then the hook for Brody. Kira backs out, fakes a distress call about threats, boom. He intercepts, shows up at her door growling. You signed, lady, pay up or face consequences. His voice laced with that enforcer menace, all caught on tape. It was poetry, watching their empire crumble from the shadows. The takedown? Cinematic gold. I lead the raid on Evelyn's house myself, dawn light filtering through her tulips as we knock. She opens the door, facade cracking, spitting venom. You think you can come here, ruin everything I've built? This town's mine, people like you don't belong. Her delusion pours out, admitting it all in a rage how she started small after her husband died bankrupt, twisting grief into greed, seeing intruders like me as the real thieves. We cuff her, her eyes blazing hatred, but there's this flicker, almost pity-worthy, of a broken woman who'd lost her way long ago. Brody's hearing? Brutal evidence stacked, Thompson's testifying tearfully about his intimidation tactics. He's fired on the spot, pinched and stripped, mumbling excuses about just following leads. But we all knew it was deeper, that resentment toward change, toward folks who looked like me taking the reins. In the aftermath, Willow Creek breathed easier way, rooted out the rot, forced retirements, rolled out trainings on ethics and bias that actually stuck. Evelyn's house. Sold to a vibrant young family, kids laughing where her schemes once festered. Me? I finally felt at home, washing my car one sunny afternoon when the new neighbor strolls over, eyes my tattoo curiously. What's the story there, he asks. I smile, trace the eagle, earned it in the Marine's reminder that justice ain't always pretty, but it's worth the fight. Yet here's the thing that lingers, makes me wonder late at night. Was Evelyn just a monster? Or did the system, our quiet suburbs, the unchecked power, create her? And Brody, was firing him enough? Or does that bias run so deep it'll sprout again? I turn the tide, but justice. It's slippery, ain't it? What do you think, did we get it right? Or is there more rot hiding in plain sight? Drop a comment below, share your take on community conflicts like this, or if you've faced something similar. Hit that like if it hit home, subscribe for more real talk stories. And let's keep the conversation going because these tales, they're everywhere, waiting to be told.